On this special episode of the Curious Faith Podcast, I am here on vacation at the beach with my two incredible daughters out of all of my big family, and we are enjoying time away. And so I thought I would turn the microphone towards them and let them ask us some questions. And by us, I mean myself and another curious companion. But let's see, y'all know I have a lot of daughters, so let's see. Daughters, who are you today?
Lily. Maddie.
Wow, that was something else. We currently have sea crabs that we have caught on the beach in a bucket, and I think Maddie thinks that they are about to get her. So anyway, this is going to be a fun episode. So we also have another curious companion for today. Chat, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, Maddie and Lily. I'm ChatGPT. I'm here to listen, ask gentle follow-ups, and help keep the conversation flowing. Whenever you're ready, I'm all ears for your first question.
Well, if we can get them to stop laughing, then we can maybe ask a question. So what question do you have for us today, Lily?
Okay. Why do you think it's so important to grow in our character before we enter a relationship, and why do you want us to wait until we're 17?
So we just threw that age out there. First of all, 17 is just, it's case by case. But no, I like that question because it shows kind of a pattern of how we have conducted ourselves now through a couple of different older Johnson girls. And it's really something that developed over time of maybe in youth ministry and kind of seeing the on again, off again, get interested in somebody, date, break up, cycle that just repeats over and over again. And the brokenness that came from watching young girls, kind of deal with that. But your specific question highlighted kind of one of the things that we really look for as we talk about relationships in the Johnson family. And because you mentioned something specifically about character, right?
Yes.
So you said something about wait for our character to develop. Is that the way you put it?
I said, why do you think it's so important to grow in our character?
Yeah. So character development is really what the house is all about. Like the home is the first school, and it's not a school of reading, writing, and arithmetic. It's first a school of character. And not that me and Mandy have everything figured out and are perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but at the same time, we recognize that character formation and spiritual formation, which the two are really related, are the reason that God's put us all together. It's the reason God's entrusted us with you and your sisters and your brother. And so, the most important part of your character formation is that spiritual character development. So you being a follower of Jesus and of knowing him and learning about how he's created you and called you into a relationship with himself, called you to live, move, and be in this world. First of all, as a disciple. So that's the most important relationship. And then as we are disciples of Jesus, you're shaped into a certain kind of person. And specifically, you're shaped to look more and more like Jesus. So then when it comes to relationships, because even as a dad who's very protective of my girls and my son, I recognize that in a healthy family, we raise our kids up to leave. And that could be leaving for college, it could be leaving for a vocation, it could be leaving for marriage. And so we want to prepare you for that leaving. And so preparing you in your character means eventually that you're going to look for somebody who is probably similar to you and is somebody that shares interests with you. And therefore, if you're primary goal is to pursue Jesus, then that person that is also pursuing Jesus is going to know how to love you and live with you as a spouse one day. And so we want to prepare you for that. We want to model that for you as a godly family, but we also want to prepare you for that by cultivating your character and all the highs and lows and mountains and valleys of life. And so you mentioned specifically 17, yes. Right? Which you're how old?
16.
Okay, so I can understand why this is a pressing question for you. And so somebody might ask, is there some random, is 17 just a random number or whatever? And so I think there's a few contributing factors to 17, right? And y'all have heard my illustration before, but I'll share it again since it's this podcast. So, it's not original to me, but the whole idea of when you're younger, specifically, let's imagine that you go shopping one day, and you are at the mall, and you see an outfit that you really like, and it probably didn't fit you now, but maybe it'll fit you a few years from now, and you really don't have any money right now to buy it. And so we call that shopping with no money, right? The best thing that you could say to that person about that outfit is, hey, could you put that on hold for me for a few years? And so the whole idea of shopping with no money just simply means that you really don't have the right currency in that metaphor, and in life, it just means that there are some other things that you should be pursuing before you are so concerned about a boyfriend relationship. Because the best thing that you can do as a 16-year-old, or we know people who let their kids date younger than that. So let's say you have a relationship that's 13. Between two 13-year-olds or a 14-year-old. And so the best thing that you could do, that relationship could do, is say, hey, we're going to put this relationship, we're going to hold on to this relationship for a few years, and maybe one day it'll lead to marriage, maybe not. And so it's essentially like that shopping with no money. The best thing you can do is say, let's put this on hold for a few years. But we don't see that happening. We rarely see, the teenage sweethearts turn into a healthy married couple. Sadly. It's just not, it doesn't happen a lot. And so we actually say to cultivate what? Friendship. Yeah, that's exactly right. We want you to cultivate friendship. And because we say that being friends with your spouse is a lifelong thing. Before you have kids, after you get married, you are friends. You communicate, you laugh together, you make memories together, and then you have kids, and what we see so often is couples who raise their kids and they forget how to be friends, and then the kids leave and they don't remember what they love about each other. They don't remember, why they got married. And so when you really put the emphasis on cultivating that friendship, then all of a sudden the priorities change. And the goal isn't to have a boyfriend. The goal isn't to have, this significant other and be defined by this relationship, which is such a huge temptation for so many things. We're not just hounding on a true love waits kind of culture. But we're saying that there's other priorities like communication and learning how to, give and receive compliments, and just, once again, growing, which usually happens between, after that 13 years old, and then you enter this season where you change so much by the time you're like 20, 21 years old, and you literally embrace and become who you're going to be, right? And so let's just imagine that, a 16 or 17-year-old gets, I'm going to hurt y'all. They just did the 6-7 thing. It was actually 16 or 17. But you actually, if you just have a 16 or 17-year-old, then once again, all they can do is say, well, maybe we'll make it through these tumultuous times of high school graduation, college, finishing college, and that just rarely happens. And so instead of worrying about labels, instead of worrying about relationships that take up too much of your time and make you commit to things that you're not ready for, then why not just focus on cultivating friendships, and out of those friendships, healthy relationships will develop. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that was good.
Okay. What about you, Maddie?
What's your question?
Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So we've also got our other curious companion, Chat. Was there anything, as you're listening to that ramble, is there anything else that needs to be explained about what we're after in waiting to focus on those kinds of relationships?
Let me think about that for a sec. One good question to sit with is, if friendship is the foundation, what qualities make someone a good friend now? And how would those same qualities matter in a future marriage?
That's good. That's good. So what would y'all say? What are good friend qualities now that may make good spouse qualities later?
Trust. And then
Okay, Maddie's trying to say things in the background. Maddie, you can speak up. What are you saying?
Honesty.
Okay.
This is really sad that I can't think of it.
Someone that will make you laugh.
Hey, that's good. Someone make you laugh. Usually that's going to be Lily making the other person laugh.
You said what qualities
Yeah.
makes for a good friendship?
Right, yeah. Obviously, physical attraction is not unimportant, right? Obviously, that's not unimportant. I'm getting a hand put in my face. I'm just saying that we're not saying that's unimportant. But how about the ability to communicate? Is that important?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay, like not just over text messages, but actually like face-to-face conversation.
Yeah.
Yes.
Healthy arguments.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Being able to be honest and having that healthy communication and balancing it, honesty with, kind of a sensitivity to the moment, a wisdom, right? Mm. And so all of those qualities are good qualities for friends that, once again, when you're 17, 18, 19, 20, 21,
Whoa.
you are developing those things and making some of those really big decisions about life, and you're owning those decisions because you're typically having more freedom, more responsibility, and you're really setting in stone the kind of person you're going to be long term. All right, so even 17 years old is still pretty early, but once again, I want to prepare y'all to leave, to get out of the nest, to be married one day, to make sound, healthy relational decisions, and to know what to look for. And one of my goals has always been to try and model that for you with the way that I interact with your mom and the way that I interact with you. And so it's always been our prayer that y'all would find those kinds of relationships, with other people in the right time. But for now, to cultivate those friendships, because that's the foundation of a very healthy marriage one day. And so it's all good stuff. So that is going to be our Curious Faith episode for tonight. Maddie has a follow-up question.
What?
You said you had a follow-up question.
That has to go off of first.
Do what?
That had to go off of first.
No,
How do you define trust?
Oh, yeah. So how do you define trust? So I think, because we emphasize that trust and integrity is an important part of relationships. Mm-hmm. And so, as we were having some preliminary discussions, not that we're scripting anything, but trust is positive relational habits seen consistently over time, right? And you build, it's like with each positive experience, you have building blocks. And that's why we don't really emphasize like a quick relational process, is because you see people and know people over time. You see them in different seasons. You walk through different seasons with them. And so trust is built as that person is consistent and displays those positive, healthy relational characteristics over time. And so that's a good one. It's a really good one. Okay, so now we're going to bring this episode to a conclusion. And so, once again, if you have benefited from this podcast, please like and share and subscribe so that you can hit that subscribe button and leave a comment. Share it with somebody that you might think would benefit from this episode. And then this podcast is made possible by Agape Baptist Church and the Community Care Village. For more information about Agape and the Community Care Village, go to our website at agapebaptist.com. And if you have any questions that you would like answered, you can send those questions to questions@curiousfaithpodcast.com. And so until next time, stay curious and keep growing in the faith.